It's Wednesday, the 19th day of April 2023. Hello and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Ghana here on Studios 2 TV, on YouTube, as well as on Facebook. I am Eric Mawina Egbeta. It's a pleasure to come your way again with another exciting edition of the show where, as I like to say, we put Ghana first in all of the matters. Today on the show, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, one of the many labor groups in the country, have become the first to announce a welcome of the government of Ghana's proposed use of pension funds for a renewed debt restructuring program. Ahead, we hear from CLOGSAG and their argument, plus a labor analyst who's cautioning the government not to use force in the negotiations. And much later, Ga Dangme youth stormed the Accra Independence Square in protest over the failure of the Ghanaian government and the Akufo-Addo administration's promise to reconstruct the demolished La General Hospital. Details of these, if you stay with us here on Let's Talk Ghana, where we put Ghana first. Welcome back. This is Let's Talk Ghana. I am Eric Mawina Egbeta. This show airs every Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays here on Studios 2 TV, on YouTube as well as on Facebook. We're delving straight into the matters, and the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG, they have become the very first labor group to become welcoming of the idea of government to use pension funds in a renewed debt restructuring program. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, in a letter cited dated the 7th of April, wrote to the trustees of the various pension funds seeking to have these funds used in a renewed effort or a renewed attempt by the government to restructure its debt. The government is shying away from stating the revised approach as a renegotiation or a new debt exchange program. But it is so, nonetheless, as described by many experts. Organized labor, that is, the Trades Union Congress and the various teacher groups, as well as other groupings, have come up strongly advising government not to dare touch their pension funds. They've gone ahead to threaten unrest on the labor front should government proceed with the attempt to use their pension funds. Well, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, in an interesting turn of events, says that following that meeting on Good Friday with the government and the trustees, they are convinced and satisfied with the terms as proposed by the Ghanaian government. And as such, they are getting well over 250 million cedis in terms of capital on investment annually. Hence, they agree to the proposal. Here is the Executive Secretary of CLOGSAG, Isaac Bampoado, speaking to Ghanaian media house TV3 earlier.
For us, the main challenge is whether when pensioners are going to retirement, they'll get their monies. That's what I'm saying. We've analyzed the request from Minister of Finance or new proposal from Minister of Finance, and it meets our cash flow requirements. So what it means is that anytime any pensioner on the hedge, master trust or pension goes on retirement, your money is available.
So what will be your cash flow? What are the projections?
Oh well, that's our projections, and we've done it, and we are okay.
And how much are you getting, Doc?
Oh, so from our projections, we will need about 250,000 million Ghana cedis to end, based upon our investment portfolio and then the cash flow that we're getting from the coupon rate that government offered. We will be able to meet our requirements.
Oh, so you will get your cash flow in 250 million.
Plus our investment portfolio that we've done.
What will come in
2023, 2024, up to 2028, we don't have any problem with cash flow. We've done all the simulations, including the worst scenario, and we are okay.
You are okay?
Yes.
Doc, so is it fair to say that?
So it will be it will depend on the investment portfolio of every scheme. But we, based upon our investment portfolio and what we'll be getting as coupon rate, we are okay from 2023 to 2028. That's if government would not renege on the agreements made so far.
But come to that, then my understanding is that you are staying off organized labor decision.
This is not organized, staying off organized labor.
But
every scheme has got its investment portfolio. You know, the investment portfolios of the schemes are not the same. So it's for every scheme to study the document that has come from Ministry of Finance and see whether it will meet their requirements. We have studied it, and then we think from 2023 to 2028 we will not have any cash flow problems. We will be able to meet all our retirement benefits to our people, and that's what we're saying. And if you look at the request from or the proposals from Ministry of Finance, they say it is this proposal is within the MOU that was signed by Organized Labor and Ministry of Finance. So it's within.
But the MOU.
Let me restate what I'm saying. I'm saying this is for the Hedge Master Trust Occupational Pension Scheme established by Civil and Local Government Staff Association, CLOSAC.
Right.
We have analyzed it, and it meets our requirements. Others too have to analyze it, and it depends on the sort of investment portfolio that they have. We, based on our investment portfolio, we can meet all our cash requirements.
So you have accepted the offer by the Minister.
It's good for us.
Now it is fair to say that you have now someone joined or volunteered.
It's not volunteered. This is not a DD. This is an arrangement to ensure that we meet our cash flow
But it's
challenges.
the same pension funds.
Whether pensions fund, that's why this is not DD. This is not debt exchange. In the debt exchange, we had haircuts where we had zero coupon rate. This has nothing to do with zero coupon rate.
Right.
Yes.
Dr. Isaac Bampuado, the Executive Secretary of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana. And so that's the latest twist to this revolving conversation. CLOSAC says they are satisfied and their pension funds is different from the other unions. What will be the position of the Trades Union Congress and the others who are vehemently opposing any attempt by the Ghanaian government to use their pension funds for a reviewed restructuring of the country's debt? We will await their reactions and get much more of it as and when it comes through. But Ga Dangme, he is a very well-respected labor analyst and one of the foremost individuals who was pivotal in the formation or the drafting of the Pensions Act, which currently is serving us here in the country. I've been engaging him on these latest proposals from government and the threats by the labor groups to cause unrest on the labor front. They've in fact stated categorically that there'll be disharmony on the labor front. Ga Dangme says that the Ghanaian government, and that's the Akufo-Addo administration, must resort to dialogue and negotiation rather than the strong-arm approach it is adopting. Let's listen.
And I must confess that pension matters are emotional because it's lifeblood. Somebody who has come of age is managed just like when somebody is a baby. Because when you come of retirement and you are of age, you are no more hot. You cannot be yourself in its entirety. You have to respond to everything differently. And therefore, that is the spirit in which we wrote the pension scheme. And it was painstakingly done. That's why we introduced leaving the first tier, which is the social security. We introduced the second tier and introduced the third tier. And we involved everybody. It was the total inclusion. Now, this way that government as an employer is going, you will only expect this kind of reaction, which shouldn't be the case. Therefore, the way out is to sober and make sure that inclusion or inclusivity is not going to be a figure of speech. You cannot instruct people whose money are being invested for their future, like I described for you. When they come of age, they are completely vulnerable. And because they are vulnerable, there are people who are sick. There are people who can die anytime. There are people who are completely like a baby, a toddler. You cannot use their money in a manner that it pleases you, especially from a political point of view. So it is very dangerous step that they are taking. And they should have engaged some of us. We are alive, we are not dead. Who told them they are innocent? I mean, there are people who also have knowledge about these things, and we are many in this country.
So what will be the advice to government? They stay off the pension funds? What will be the advice?
Look, government needs help. And I want to say, categorically that because government needs help, and not just merely government, the nation needs help, they must open up themselves for people to support them in achieving what they want. So get the people who own the money. They own the money, not you. So that you invite them to a table and look, I have a problem. This is my problem. This is the situation. Can we brainstorm how we can do this? Are there alternatives? What are the options? What else can we do to solve this problem?
Right.
That is going to be the approach. So you are using what I maybe will call attachment. You are using by force. You are using pressure. You want to take the money anyhow you want to do it and call it alternative. We don't do that. I support government if they have a certain problem, it's a genuine problem, which I think they have. They should invite people to the table.
That's Austin Game, a labor expert, and asking government not to come with a strong arm approach in its latest offer to labor groups and the decision or the request to want to use their pension fund. But what exactly are the terms government is offering to these labor groups? We've heard from ClockSAC, who are quite pleased with it and say they are agreeing and going ahead with the Ghanaian government. Just on your screens right now, you're going to see that statement again from the Finance Ministry stating exactly what the terms are. And I'll walk you through that statement again. And the point 2 says that reference is made to the memorandum. It goes on, and it says that in line with this, we're writing to formally request pension funds participation in an alternative proposed offer. This proposal is aimed at alleviating the cash constraints of the government in the coming years while fully compensating the pension funds for the value of the current holdings. And so it goes on to say that the proposed offer entails exchanging their current holdings of treasury bonds, ESLA bonds, and Dache bonds for a menu of the currently outstanding new bonds issued in February of this year, which will mature in 2027 and 2028 respectively, and where the new bond for 2027 and new bond for 2028 featuring an average coupon of 8.4% with a ratio of 1.15 times, thus entailing an increase in patrimonial value. And so that's the offer really from the Finance Ministry. ClockSAC says that they're satisfied with it, but we are waiting to see what this latest twist, because ClockSAC is a part of the labor groupings in the country. TUC and the likes, they've expressed strong reservations to this and said they do not want to be a part of any proposed new offers from the government. And so what will be their response to this latest move by ClockSAC? And I must mention that the harmony between ClockSAC and TUC and the others has not been too great. So what will be the response of TUC and the other groupings? We'll await that and we'll bring that to you as and when they do come through. When we return, the Ga Dangme youth here in the capital, they yesterday staged a protest and ended up at the Independence Square, where they, amongst many other things, requesting urgently the government reconstruct the General Hospital, which was demolished in 2020. We get into those when we return here on Let's Talk Ghana, where we put Ghana first in all of our matters. Welcome back. This is Let's Talk Ghana here on Studios 2 TV. We're live every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays on this channel as well as on Facebook. Like I always say, a message in our comment section is one that is very welcoming. Or find me on Twitter at Mawina Eric. Find us as well, Studios 2 TV on Twitter as well. The Ga Dangme youth are demanding the urgent reconstruction of the General Hospital. This was after they poured onto the streets yesterday. They marched from Obra Circle to the Independence Square with placards and the likes demanding urgent reconstruction of the hospital facility. The hospital was pulled down as far back as 2020 when structural defect was cited by a report by the Health Ministry. Because of these defects, the government secured funding and said that they're pulling down the structure to pave way for the reconstruction of another. Well, nearly 3 years down the line, work has stalled, and all the noise making and urgency and calls by the various groupings, including the minority side on the Health Committee of Parliament to have government return with constructors back to site, has proven futile. And this has angered and forced the residents, along with their traditional authorities, to pour onto the streets, demanding urgent government intervention. We'll hear from one of the leaders now of the group who spoke when they converged at the Obra spot, at the Independence Avenue yesterday, where a petition was given to a chief of staff. Let's hear from him and their concerns.
Jela polyclinic ni ameba kum na me hawa afie nyo ama hawo 1 year se what bi ni bi mene e badake anye afie hawo waka wandanya usi akanya wie si akalama lamanka wantesi akuma wa clinic ka menye.
So one of the traditional leaders there, and like I mentioned, a chief of staff was present, a deputy chief of staff was present to receive the petition on behalf of the government, and assured amongst many things that they work in earnest to have the reconstruction project started. Dr. Sebastian Sandare is a member of the Health Committee of Parliament and a minority member of the Dafiamebuse Isa constituency. I engaged him on what appears to be failed promises from the government and the health minister in the reconstruction of this General Hospital. And he says that they've dragged the health minister several times before the health committee, and it appears that its promises an end. So now they are going to call on the Government Assurance Committee of Parliament to deal with the health minister. Here's exactly what he told me in that exclusive interview.
Yes, we would definitely, take action, but that will be guided by the leadership of the committee. I know the ranking Honorable Akando, this is so passionate about this project that I know at a point he will be speaking, on it, because we see it as a major project that should be done for the people of land. And right. Even during the budget consideration, we look at all this. We brought those in charge of the infrastructure, Agenda 111 on those things. And, this last project was one of the areas, Honorable Akando and even the chairman of the committee were so passionate about, and we're asking questions. And, anytime we ask the minister these questions, only assurance that he has never
continues to offer.
So one of the actions that will be taken, I believe, is that he made appear before, the assurance committee of Parliament. Because when you give assurance and you don't fulfill, the committee has the right to call you before them, right, for you to answer questions while you continue to give assurance that you don't fulfill.
Dr. Sebastian Sandare there speaking to me earlier in the morning, providing a lot more context as to this whole conversation on the General Hospital. In other trending matters, though, the jury that's been sitting on the murder trial of the former MP Ga Dangme, they say that they are not working because compensations or allowances that are due them have not been paid by the government. And so that case, in which the final judgment was expected yesterday, has been postponed again. A pretty unfortunate turn of events, and that continues to dominate the conversation. In other matters as well, the president is considering appointing one of the justices of the Supreme Court, Tokonu, her ladyship, Justice Tukonu, to become the new Chief Justice, as Justice Kwesi Nyaboa is due to retire come May. Those are some of the trending matters. If you go on to Facebook as well, the controversy surrounding Lester Matthias in that Al Jazeera documentary still remains quite topical on social media and the likes. That's a package for you today here on Let's Talk Ghana. A pleasure coming your way with another edition of the show. Find us on Facebook as well as on YouTube. We'll return on Friday with another exciting edition of the show. I am Eric Mawina Egbeta. Let's make a date on Friday.
Studios 2 TV. The truth is here, in your eyes.